Um, I promised I was going to come up here and well, ask you all a question so I could get you to raise your hands. How many people here have a goldfish? All right, not many people have a goldfish. I'll tell you what, I don't either. And it's because I'm upset that it has a longer attention span than I do, actually. But I know why. The goldfish has a longer attention span because the goldfish doesn't have to sift through 20% of mail that is absolutely ridiculous and then 70% of mail that I end up reading and throwing away anyway. If the goldfish had to do that, it really would have a shorter attention span than I do. So as soon as we get goldfish to answer junk mail, then we're on an even keel. Anyway, I'd like to talk to you about the Amazon App Store's journey through creating a rewards campaign. All right, first of all, you'd probably like to know a little bit, who's the Amazon App Store? The Amazon App Store is kind of like Google Play or iTunes for Amazon devices, like Fire TV, the Fire tablets, for example. And we had a goal. We wanted to go ahead and increase the sale of subscription content to Fire TV. So we wanted people to renew high-value content, HBO, Showtime, things like that, through Amazon as opposed to through any other channel. That's a reasonable goal, right? Everyone's got renewed business in their plate. And so we were thinking about how we would do that, and we ended up choosing a rewards campaign. For those of you who aren't intimately familiar with rewards campaigns yet, rewards campaign is a way of saying, if I'm going to give you, the customer, something valuable, if you take an action that's valuable for me. Most of the time, we see this in loyalty campaigns. For example, I've flown enough miles, around the world so that I'll get a free snack of crackers next time I get on the airplane. That's a loyalty program. Well, at least it is for airlines. And loyalty programs actually have some really neat advantages over just putting something on sale, because we thought about just putting something on sale. But by using a rewards program outside of a loyalty program, what we found was a rewards campaign doesn't necessarily train our users to wait for sales. That's a huge benefit right there. Two, we can actually target a rewards campaign at a very specific cohort of people. Maybe it's not everyone who has a premium TV subscription. Maybe it's only people who have had 2 consecutive premium TV subscriptions. Or maybe people who haven't had any, but we can choose the cohort that we want to address very specifically with a rewards campaign. Third, it can be used for a whole lot more than just driving sales. I mean, think about everything you've heard so far in the conference. There are a lot of really good high-value actions that customers can take that we're trying to drive through digital marketing. And some of them are sales-related, but not all of them are sales-related. And we can use rewards campaigns to help drive some of that desirable behavior. So, first thing we wanted to do was come up with some very specific goals. And we did this by taking a look at the levers that we had in our business. What levers can we pull to increase the rate of resubscription or increase the rate of subscription that we had in the App Store? So we figured, well, we can do this pretty well. We can generate first-time subscribers. We like that. We can recover lapsed subscribers. And if they would just read all of the brilliant mail that we send them through our mail personalization systems, I'm sure they would absolutely love to take advantages of some of the offers, but we need to get them to open the mail. So, fair enough. This is what we did. We wrote a service. Okay, we're Amazon. We have buildings full of engineers and developers. Of course we wrote some code. Actually, it's not that bad. It actually makes a lot more sense than it may sound like. Because the Amazon App Store is an online marketplace, it makes sense to have our marketing tools that are customer-facing be online marketing tools. And that's precisely what we did. So we gave our marketing team this tool, and with this tool, the marketing team could say, okay, if we pull this lever, we want to reward with something that's worth this much because we think the outcome is going to be worth that much. And the nice thing about having a tool that does this is all of a sudden the marketing team can go crazy. They can come up with all kinds of imaginative rewards, campaigns, different cohorts to offer it to, and the engineering team doesn't even have to pay it. They can just let the marketing team go off and be silly, and the engineers can work on really important coding stuff. They don't have to keep renewing campaigns for the engineers. So that was really the good part of making this an API available as a service. So we did that. We decided that we were going to go ahead and take our first step in offering rewards campaigns to the users. So what did we do? Well, we decided we would offer a $10 Amazon credit to all net new subscribers. Okay, $10 credit, it's not terribly creative, but we decided to offer a $10 credit to all people who resubscribed. Again, not terrible. I mean, we're Amazon. How many products do we have available on Amazon that we could have rewarded people with? Okay, and we chose a $10 credit. We reserve the right to wake up smarter tomorrow morning, and in part 3 of the presentation, I'll tell you about all of the things we learned to do differently. $10 Amazon credit is not the most creative way to reward your customers. I'll get to that. And then to make sure that people opened the mail for us, our third goal, we actually mentioned the rewards campaign in the title of the mail. And that actually worked out pretty well for us. We got 5 times the new subscribers that we did when we didn't have the campaign. When it came to people resubscribing, we got twice as many resubscribers with a campaign as we did without the campaign. And people opened the mail. We had twice as many people open the mail when we mentioned in the title of the mail, you can earn Amazon credit by resubscribing. It's like, what do you know? I think I'll open that up, find out what it's about. Look at that, I was going to resubscribe anyway. Okay, technically we didn't need to offer them a reward. But people who thought, oh, geez, I'd better do it now. We could, it was wonderful. Our results were great. So good, as a matter of fact, that other departments at Amazon decided they wanted in on this too. Okay, when we wrote this thing, we wrote it kind of for our own purposes, and it was not terribly flexible. So when other groups at Amazon decided that they wanted to take part, we needed to actually turn this thing into an actual real cloud service. We actually had to offer a catalog so that instead of just, typing in catalog numbers, you could actually, if you were in a different group at Amazon, you could browse a catalog of things that were available. And in addition to all the technical things we had to make possible for what we considered a third-party group to use it, there was a mindset that was really important. The mindset that we needed to get across was that offering rewards was based on a cost per action benefit. It was wrong to think of it as giving the customer a free car wash mitt or a $10 gift card or a book on tape, because all of a sudden it became tied up in what are you going to give to somebody else. But that's not why we did this. That's not why this exists. What we needed to do was close the business. We don't want to give someone a car mitt with this program. What we want them to do is we want them to actually resubscribe to HBO. So what we're doing is we're trying to drive the action to resubscribe to HBO, not the action of them actually getting the car mitt. And so when we talked about how much is this worth to you, we needed to phrase it in terms of a cost per action. And once we got our internal business partners thinking around, this action is how valuable to me, then they started doing the smart thing. They started looking at their data. If people do this action, how do I know it's going to be worth the cost? It sounds like a great idea, but I can use the data to find out if it's actually really going to be worth it to me or not. And when you guys think about rewards campaigns as either part of a loyalty program or a standalone rewards campaign, I want you guys to start thinking about it in terms of cost per action, because that's definitely the strong way to do it. The results that other teams had at Amazon were pretty good, and that's when we kind of had our epiphany. Our epiphany was, wait a minute, if it works for these App Store guys, and it works for shoes, and it works for all of these other departments at Amazon, I'll bet it works for everybody. Yeah, exactly. All right, I told you we reserve the right to wake up smarter tomorrow. We'll learn more about that in part 3. Anyway, to go ahead and test this out, we did have a handful of partners that we told about this, and they wanted in on it. And so we chose partners that were predisposed to success. I mean, if you're going to start outside, you might as well start outside with someone you know is going to win, right? And what factors predispose a company to success with a rewards campaign? 1, they've got the data. They know if I do this, it's going to be worth that. 2, they knew the levers that they could pull. They knew that I could get someone to sign up for a newsletter. I could get someone to join a social group. Or at just a very base level, I know I can get someone to spend money and to make an in-app purchase or make a purchase on the website. So we picked those companies, and I'm going to tell you the story of two of them. Their goals were increasing user retention, and this is a big deal, right? I mean, you guys know about user retention. When someone downloads your mobile app onto their phone, typically, you'll lose 80% of those users before a month is gone. And that's brutal, particularly if you're trying to build a relationship with your customer. You want them to engage with your brand through your mobile app. And so retaining those customers is a big deal. So they wanted to increase their retention rate. Another app really wanted to, actually they both wanted to do this, increase the number of sales they made through their mobile site and through their website, in-app purchases or online web purchases. And it looked a little bit like this. Their specific goals were to increase D30 retention. Now, what levers did they have? One company had a really neat monthly event that they would stage. And it brought them together with other customers. And they had the data that said if you participated in this monthly event, the revenue that they would get from you would double as opposed to people who didn't take this monthly event, who didn't participate in the monthly event. So they knew that that was pretty valuable. Another company, a game company, said, listen, any player who can make it through level 20 in our game, dude, they're going to go all the way to level 100. And I know if we can get people to level 20, we'll have them for forever, basically. And so those are the goals. Increasing in-app revenue, increasing the number of first-time payers, which is really important for mobile apps in general. Only about 2% of the people who download, in this case a game, ever pay for anything. That's a horrible ratio. So if you can increase that a little bit, that's very important. And also they wanted to increase people who've been paying a little bit to pay more. And this is kind of what it looked like. For the retention package, they rewarded you if you completed a monthly event. That makes sense, right? You want people to complete your monthly event, you reward them for completing the event. Similarly, you reward people who get to level 20. Except really they didn't need to do that. It turns out when you reward someone with a physical item, something that shows up in a smiling cardboard box on your doorstep, there's a halo effect for that. And that halo effect makes customers happy, they engage longer, they engage more deeply for, as far as we can tell, 30 and plus days after receiving that physical item reward. What they could have done was rewarded people who got to level 15, and the halo effect of receiving that physical reward would have pulled them through level 20, and if they get to level 20, they're good to level 100. More about that later. The in-app revenue case was actually pretty interesting. There was the game, and they had a package of gems, right? You guys have played games on your phones. You can buy gem packs, you can buy health packs. All of this stuff is zero cost of goods sold to the provider. So any dime that they pay you for that is a dime that you've made. So if they have a $50 gem pack for sale, well, sure, they can offer a $24 speaker as a reward for buying a $50 gem pack. They can do that all day long, and they're still going to make money. And that actually worked out really, really very well for them. Similarly, for the people who had already purchased things at the $50 level, well, heck, spend $100 and we'll send you a $24 speaker. Zero cost of goods sold. They can do that all day long. And it worked out pretty well for them. When it comes to increasing retention, they saw a 97% increase in D30 retention with the reward just by getting people to participate in the event. So that was great. So in other words, they had 90% more people participate in that monthly event as a result of the rewards campaign. That's a pretty nice result. They had twice as many players, they had 2 times the increase in daily average revenue 30 days after the campaign ended. That's a pretty nice halo effect as well out of that increased participation in the monthly event. For the retention for IAP sales and revenue, 117% increase in first-time buyers and a 27% increase in average revenue per paying user. Yesterday, I think it was, I don't think it was Austin. Maybe it was Jeff. No, it was Austin. Austin was saying it's 10 times easier to deliver an amazing experience, 10 times harder to improve your product. Go and talk to your engineers and find out how much work they would have to do on the engineering side to deliver 117% increase in revenue that you're generating from your site. That's a huge engineering task, and probably they don't even know where to start. But you know what, by improving the experience with a rewards campaign, you can actually get that kind of revenue 10 times easier, we found out. That's pretty nice. So it worked well for us, it worked well for our partners, and the reward of physical goods actually lasts a lot longer than it takes people to open the box, find out what they got, because seriously, this doesn't happen. This is kind of a surprising moment. The moment where you do something and you get this really kind of physical reward. It breaks that digital physical world boundary, and that's pretty important. So in setting this up, we made a few mistakes along the way, a few things that I don't think we do again, but I'd love to share kind of what we learned in going and getting those results for ourselves and for our partners. The first thing we learned about the strategy working everywhere, mostly everywhere. I mean, okay, in some places in particular it worked really well. You guys can read the list of places it worked really well. I don't need to read that list to you. But it's important to understand the characteristics of where a rewards campaign doesn't necessarily work well. A rewards campaign is not going to work well where you have a single upfront sale and no realistic expectation of repeat business. I know you're thinking, what a horrible business to be in, right? If this is your model, what a horrible business to have. A really great example of a business where this is true, wedding dresses. If everything goes well, you don't really expect a subsequent sale, do you? I mean, you're not going to send ticklers in the mail. Hey, your first wedding was so good, how about having another one 2 years from now? Really, he's gotten old. You want a new one, right? We'll sell you the dress. So, yeah, it's a one-time upfront payment with little expectation of repeat business. Sales work so much better for wedding dresses than rewards campaigns. Don't do a rewards campaign if you sell wedding dresses. Unfortunately, the auto dealers in Seattle that I have to work with treat the sale of a car like an upfront one-time payment with no expectation of repeat business. If you work in government, for example, if you're a tax collecting agency, guess what? Your reward is not going to prison. You're going to pay your taxes. Schools do the same thing. Nobody at the school bookstore cares if you crack the book after you buy it. They just want you to buy the book for the class. So those are also places where sales tend to be more effective at stimulating demand than rewards campaigns do. 2, what kind of behavior do you actually want to reward? Well, obviously actions that matter, actions that you know will lead to more business down the road, and they come in 2 flavors, one-time actions and building habits. One-time actions can be signing up for newsletters, which is pretty good. If you have a restaurant and you have an online presence with your customers, get them to make reservations online. It saves your staff from having to spend all of their time on the phone, and it's a great way that you can actually merge that physical real-world experience with the digital presence and engagement you have with your customers. Good one-time action. Checking your accounts, status, transferring funds, one-time actions. Rewards campaigns can also be used for building habits. And this is pretty important. It's not directly related to a sale, but good customer behavior can actually mean a whole lot to your business. And I'm going to use an airline as an example. American Airlines, having recently lost my bags on a trip to College Station. How many people have ever been to College Station, Texas? Okay. Hey, good deal. So you know how small that airport is. I took a picture of the airport. I had the door to the airport, the security line, and both gates in the same picture. The airport really is that small. I'm not surprised the bags got lost. But here's the deal. What do you do when the bags get lost? Well, if you're like most people, you pick up your phone, you call the airline, you scream at them. Well, actually, you don't scream at them because you've got to go through this extraordinarily frustrating phone tree first. And if you weren't upset enough already after you finish the phone tree, you certainly are. So someone picks up the phone on the other end, you scream at them only to find out they know less about your bag than you do. Nobody's happy. You're an upset customer. A real human being has had to answer the phone for the airline. That's expensive. And nobody's getting any happier. So how do you solve that? With a rewards campaign. Well, here's what you do. Imagine that your airline lets you track the status of your bag on the mobile app. The thing is, they need you to know that this is possible before they've lost one of your bags. So it's easy. They figure the behavior they want is, we want you to check the status of your bag even when it's not lost. So the behavior that they're going to reward is, if you check the status of your bag on 3 different flights, we're going to send you this really cool set of I can't say the name, of airline luggage tags. That's pretty sweet. I like that. Okay, I want that set of luggage tags, so I'm going to go to their app, I'm going to check the status of my luggage, and I do it 3 times, I get my luggage tags, and the 7th or 8th time I fly with them, they lose one. Do I call someone on the phone? Heck no. I open the app, I check the status of my luggage, I find out where it didn't get on the last plane, and I can enter an address so that it'll get delivered to my hotel, all faster than I could have gotten through the phone tree in the first place. I'm a happy customer because I've been able to take some action. I know where my bag is, I know when it'll get delivered. The airline's thrilled because no one's had to pick up the phone. And you're happier, and it cost them a set of luggage tags. Okay, building good habits can help your business save money. It can drive really desirable things to do. The reward economics, turns out that was pretty important, and we learned this lesson. Not the easiest way, but the first one is it pays for itself immediately. Remember the game developer I told you about who had a 0 cost of goods item that he wanted to deliver, the gem pack? Well, you know what? He could announce that to the world, and if everyone took advantage of it, he'd be happy because he's still making $26 every time he makes that sale and delivers a $24 speaker. On the other hand, there are places where it doesn't work so well. For example, signing up for a newsletter. Imagine that you're a wildlife federation and you're raising money to help save panda bears. Well, you know that people who subscribe to your newsletter ultimately donate $100 more per year than people who don't subscribe to your newsletter. Hey, giving them a $20 stuffed panda bear for signing up for the newsletter sounds like a great idea, doesn't it? Yeah, I was all on board with that too. Except you get dads and moms out there who are thinking, what am I going to get my niece for her birthday? Whoa, sign up for this newsletter, get a free panda bear? Cool, I can sign up with that newsletter with this throwaway email address. I'll get the cute little panda bear, and I will never actually read any of the newsletters. I guarantee that person did not donate $100 more to the foundation. So what do you do? Well, let's rewind. The key action is not signing up for the newsletter. That's not the action you want to reward. The action you want to reward is, you've sent me 3 newsletters and I've opened every single one, and at least I've seen the headline. And if you can get someone to open your newsletter and you can get them to read the headline, that's on you. You need to have a compelling headline that makes them want to read the rest of the newsletter. And, well, I'll also tell you, the people who want to game the system, they're not willing to wait around to open 3 newsletters. So you can really kind of change the dynamics of that if you reward the behavior that you know really matters to your business. But that's why it's important to know the difference between actions that pay immediately and actions that pay on average as a difference in reward economics. The next thing you want to do is, how do you announce your reward? Well, again, if you're the game with the gem pack, you announce it everywhere. I mean, if you could put it on the side of milk cartons, you do that too, right? Because you make money every single time. You say, if you do X, you'll get Y. Pretty self-explanatory. What's not self-explanatory is when you don't tell them about the reward. This is kind of sneaky, but it plays into creating moments that matter. Okay, for you guys who are taking notes on phones or pen and paper, write this down. There's a book called Moments That Matter by Chip and Dan Heath. It's the only search result you'll get if you type in Moments, Chip, Dan, Heath. By the way, Chip and Dan Heath are amazing authors. Just their books alone are equivalent to a functional MBA in marketing. Amazing stuff. Anyway, they created a book called Moments, and they dissected why is fun fun, and they picked on Disneyland. I mean, because really, you go, you spend hundreds of dollars for a ticket to a park where in exchange for your money, you get to stand in line for rides that last a few seconds, stand in line for food that's really expensive and not that good, and when you leave, you're thinking, oh, Disney, please take more of my money. How do they do that? Chip and Dan Heath know, and they tell you about it in the book Moments. And one of those things is creating these really memorable moments, particularly when you're in not such a great mood. Now imagine you're trying to fill out a mortgage application online. Okay, y'all have filled out a mortgage application before, and it's just not fun. And you're online, and it's just so tempting when you get to this point in the mortgage application just to kind of give up and come back to it later, which is never as many people as promise themselves they'll get back to it later. So how do you keep people engaged in that? If you've got the data that shows where people fall off of a high-effort task, like a mortgage application, you know when to surprise them with a delightful little reward. Hey, you've gotten through the first 2 parts of your mortgage application. We know this is hard. We know this is taking a lot of your time, but we really want to earn your business. We really want you to be our customers. We'd like to send you this financial calculator because you've gotten this far in setting up your mortgage application. Whoa, you never told me you would do that. I'm not filling out the mortgage application to get a calculator. No one, by the way, fills out a mortgage application just to get a calculator. Bad idea. Do X, get Y doesn't work for mortgages. But the delightful surprise absolutely works for mortgage applications, because when they're sitting there ready to give up, and all of a sudden you just say, hey, I appreciate it's hard work, you're recognizing the pain, and we want you to have this cool financial calculator. It'll be on your doorstep in 2 days. Awesome. Yeah, I'm sitting down and I'm finishing that mortgage application. It's a remarkable way to generate goodwill and really improve the experience of completing a mortgage application while costing you almost nothing in comparison to the total value of that customer. Now, absolutely, we know we heard Jeff and Austin both talk about creating amazing experiences really helps your online marketing and really helps customers come back, helps generate additional referrals. And this kind of surprise reward really does a phenomenal job in spiking a customer experience during what is normally a pretty low valley in the customer journey to becoming a mortgagee. It works for other things as well. In the gaming world, I used to do a lot of work with games. There's a process called grinding. and you have to grind for a whole bunch of coins to get that new upgrade. And it's basically going into a dungeon and just slaughtering skeleton after skeleton after skeleton. And it gets boring, and that's when the shiny new game comes up that you go and play, and you never play the skeleton game again. But if you're delighted with a cool reward, hey, we're going to send you a miniature skeleton with a parachute. Real gift, actually. Toy skeleton with a parachute, 12 cents. You can offer them a 12-pack of these things, and all of a sudden, dude, you just gave me a real-life reward instead of like a loot box. That's kind of cool. Let me see what else I can get. Let me see what else happens. They keep chopping through a bunch more zombies, and they don't go to that other game. Very cool stuff, building habits. Reward selection. So, all right, $10 gift cards, not the smartest thing we've ever done. Why? Gift card, not thrilling. I mean, you've all gotten gift cards for birthdays and Christmas and stuff, right? Isn't that what you get when the person who gave you the gift card says, I really couldn't take the time to figure out a more meaningful gift for you, so I'm just going to get you the gift card. All right, cool, fine. But it's not meaningful. It doesn't change your outlook or your perspective. So physical goods absolutely are game changers, much more so than gift cards. We know that now. Two, we didn't have to spend that much, actually. We picked $10 because we knew $10 was worth it to get people to resubscribe through Amazon. But we didn't need to spend that much. We found this out because we tested in a supermarket in Southern California. We wanted people to engage in a certain action on a tablet so that they could get the glory of having their name in the top 10 list, and also to get first a $49 Kindle tablet. We got all kinds of people who went through the experience until their name was on the list. We said, what about a $25 reward? All kinds of people played until their name was on the list. What about a $10 reward? All kinds of people. $5 reward. A whole bunch of people. A $1 reward. Almost no one. So there is a point of diminishing returns, but it's way lower down the scale than you think. Because remember, most people are there with you because you're offering something valuable to them, something they want. They don't need the $50 push to get something they already know that they're interested in. Just give them that little nudge to do that customer item or that customer action that's particularly valuable that you really want to see increased in your digital marketing call to actions. So you don't need to spend as much as you think. Now, Jeff came up with a good point when he was talking yesterday, in that these marketing campaigns are exercises in trial and error. There's no one magic formula I can say, if this is your thing, you need that reward. You can come close, and these guidelines will kind of get you close. But the bottom line is you need to try a bunch of different iterations, A/B test different rewards, different reward levels to find out where your sweet spot is. So I completely agree with Jeff on that. The guidelines I want to give you when what you're asking someone to do is fairly easy, something really less expensive is just fine. When you're asking for a lot more of someone's data or time, you kind of need to amp it up a little bit. $5 was for something that was relatively simple. But for something relatively complicated like a mortgage application, guess what? You go all the way up to a $24 financial calculator. All right, how many people would actually pay I know a lot of you guys are in banking. I talk to a lot of you. I know there are a bunch of bankers in here. $24 to get someone to complete their mortgage application? Woohoo, sign me up. Okay, I'm done, that's good. Certainly lowers your cost of overall marketing. Cohort selection. With rewards campaigns, you get to pick who gets it. It's not like a sale that applies to everyone who ever shows up to your site. Cohort selection means that you can do a very good job of targeting just the people that are high-value potential customers to you, or are current high-value customers that you don't want to lose to competitors. So if you have a pays-for-itself economic model, go ahead and your cohort is everyone you can possibly reach. If your cohort is sort of an easy reward or an immediate reward, try to limit it to pre-existing customers to limit the amount of people who try and game your system. By limiting it to people who've already signed up and are already in your database, people who want to just take advantage of it quickly are going to have to wait 30 days. Because, I've got customers who are doing rolling 30-day campaigns as they try this. And so, 30 days later, you can start signing up for the same rewards. And again, that keeps people from gaming the system. And then delightful surprises. Delightful surprises, cohorts of people that you know are valuable to you, that you want to surprise and delight because they're in the middle of some high-value action or that they're just plain old high-value customers. Absolutely take this opportunity to delight them with inside your digital marketing and digital messaging experience. So, that's quite a lot of information in a relatively short amount of time. I'll give you a quick summary of things that I really want you to take away from rewards campaigns. They're flexible, really flexible. They can reward one-time actions. They can help build habits and behaviors. 2, it helps you retain customers. Customers who get these delightful experiences from engaging with your marketing messages. How cool is that? And it rewards good behavior that can lower your cost of business. Certainly not clogging up your phone tree for lost luggage, and not clogging up your waitresses with dinner reservations or changes to reservations. Lowers your cost of goods sold. Really good for that. You can target specific groups of people that matter to you, and not waste any of your marketing budget on groups of people that you know are relatively low probability, or maybe just prospects or suspects, but aren't active. And then, the effect of real-world rewards. Real-world rewards are sticky. People remember they got this. You can actually include your own branded merchandise in rewards if you want to. Some of that's not available through Amazon. For example, if you wanted to stencil your company's name on the financial calculator, you can do that outside of Amazon. But, Amazon also has a way that you can deliver branded merchandise to your customers if you'd like to. And it's memorable. The halo lasts 30 days plus in the terms of impact of the revenue that it has. And that's way better than putting something on sale. Okay, that's about it from me. Guys, if you have any questions, I'd love to entertain any questions you had about either the results or the process of getting there. We'll throw a cube up. Do I have a cube up here? I don't have a cube up here.
Excellent talk. Quick question on rewards program as it pertains to abandoned carts for e-com. Have you guys used anything in that space to get people to finish the purchase or to continue being a customer?
You certainly can, depending on the value of the cart, right? So if you've got a cart that's got $20 worth of stuff in it, I may not really want to put you in that cohort. But if you've got a cart that's got a couple $1,000s worth of stuff in it, and it hasn't been touched for 8 hours, heck, I want to offer you something to get back into that cart and complete that transaction. That's a perfect opportunity for a very focused cohort reward. And the reward doesn't have to be amazing. The reward can be, hey, if you complete your cart purchase in the next 2 hours, we'll take $10 off of shipping. Next 2 hours, I got to do something now. Otherwise, I lose the opportunity. And okay, I've already got the cart full of stuff. I know I want it, and I saved $10 on shipping. Okay, wonderful. Very targeted, and you don't have to offer to everyone who comes and puts stuff in the cart. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Perfect. Next door.
It's a pretty broad question, but how do you make sure that you don't start having customers just stick to that behavior that I'm going to, for the example he just gave, I'm going to purposely leave my cart so that I receive a transactional email later with a carrot, gift card or something. How do you walk that fine line between always, pushing the envelope on the rewards program, but also making sure that customers don't get used to this behavior and just stick with using your promotions to their advantage? Because
by targeting specific cohorts, you can kind of create a Skinner box effect. So, hey, when I've got stuff in my cart, sometimes nobody offers me any discount on shipping. Sometimes when I have stuff in my cart, they do offer me a discount in shipping. Think about how much a customer would have to buy from you in order to figure out where that line is. Woohoo, go ahead, figure out where the line is. Please, I'd love to sell you that much stuff so that you figure out where that line is.
Got it.
Be my guest.
Okay. Cool.
Sorry, so we used that actually for one of our clients. It's a pretty big e-com business. And what we did was, it gets a lot more complicated. We're using, like, if you're buying a special item, discounted item, you don't get anything. If you're buying something that's full price, that they can offer a discount, then we'll do that either 8 hours, there might be a different offer like 3 days later, so you can get pretty
Yeah.
complicated, but it looks like you guys
That
have
sounds
got
really
good-
smart.
Yeah. So it seems like you guys have some good experience, so we're looking at expanding that.
Sounds great. Good catch.
Yeah, nice toss. So with the minimalist movement of less clutter in people's homes and offices and anything, has that had any impact on real world rewards?
Clutter, explain a little more to me.
So like the art of tidying up and getting rid of everything, that a lot of people are moving towards not having these little knickknacks in their home or in their office. So has that had any impact?
Not noticeably, but I mean, arguably, we haven't actually run any tests on that. So I don't have any data that I trust that can tell me one way or the other. What I have is anecdotal, if that matters. Anecdotally, even if I take this calculator and it's nowhere near as cool as my brand new $300 HP financial calculator, the fact that you sent me a calculator is kind of cool. And I'll put it in a drawer and I'll give it to my cousin, or I'll put it in a drawer and I'll forget about it and I'll throw it away 3 months later. But dude, you sent me a calculator. Thank you.
I'm not gonna throw it.
Guys, thank you very much for your time. Right now, I'm the only thing standing, actually, he's the only thing standing between you and lunch. So go for it, man. Good luck.